SpoilerTV.
Nice. Happy to be here.
Yes,
Okay.
beautiful home, beautiful home.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I'm just gonna ask a few questions. Not take up too much of your time, but I am excited to talk to you. You have such a exciting career. You've been in, film and television, Broadway, so singing, dancing, all that. What inspired you to pursue this career in acting and singing and everything?
I come from a family of musicians. My parents are musicians, and my mom founded a children choir in Puerto Rico. So it's in my blood.
Yeah,
I think like I grew up singing, dancing, and acting. So I've been doing this for my whole life, and I love it.
yeah, that's awesome. So, can you tell us about your journey from Puerto Rico and coming over and starting acting?
Yeah, well, I started really young. When I was a kid, I danced with Menudo, and then I started doing theater in my hometown. Then I started like working with different artists such as Luis Fonsi, who's a huge Latin star that represents Puerto Rico worldwide. And he was my boss as I was his backup singer, backup dancer, and then he was the producer of my first album. And I think like each opportunity was leading me to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been complementing my career with all my different disciplines of art since I can remember. And there's moment in my life and my career that people has told me like, oh, which one do you prefer, or are you gonna focus only in one? And I'm like, no. My role models like Barbara Streisand, Jennifer Lopez, or Lady Gaga, Beyonce, they do it all.
Yeah.
They do it all, and they combine everything. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been amazing. I started in Puerto Rico, and then I moved to Miami because I had an opportunity there to do a reality show, a singing reality show that I won. And after that, I was there for 4 years, focused on music, but then I decided to follow my dreams of like being on Broadway and, doing the crossover to the US market. So I moved to New York, and that's where I started a different career that was complementing my previous one. But it's, each place that I've lived in has also inspired me a new stage in my career.
Yeah, Miami's a great place to go to. I lived in Miami for a few, so yeah, I love Miami. And of course, then you booked West Side Story, and what drew you to that role, and how did that come about?
Yeah, well, West Side Story, it's one of the few stories out there, like American classics, that my people are represented somehow. So when I heard the news about West Side Story being like that there was a remake being done by Steven Spielberg, I was so excited because, like, first of all, it was one of the musicals I grew up with. Rita Moreno and Chita Rivera are both inspirations to me. And Steven Spielberg has been my favorite director since I can remember. So I just went for it. It was a long process. I had to do like 7 auditions to finally land in the role of Rosalia. But it was all worth it. And I'm so grateful for that experience. And I'm so happy to be part of history somehow, because now I can tell my grandkids that I was in in one of the West Side Story films.
I know that must have been crazy. Like when you got that call, how was that? Like, oh, you booked it. You must have been like jumping up and down.
Yeah, I was landing in Puerto Rico for Thanksgiving weekend. So I remember I started crying in the airplane, and then as soon as I saw my mom, I just hugged her and I'm like, Mom, I booked it. I'm Rosalia. And we started crying, and then we told my dad, then I called my best friends, and then I called all my aunts. I called my abuela, my grandmother, because they all prayed for me. So I get the role. So it was really exciting. It was a dream come true. And the whole experience, 6 months of just being there, learning from Mr. Steven Spielberg and his whole crew and team was a marvelous experience that I will never forget.
Yeah, that process must have been like so surreal working with like you said, these Steven Spielberg. Like, is he very, I know I'm sure he's focused, but is he very just like, like, you know what I mean?
No, you'll be surprised that yes, he is very focused, but he has a plan for each day.
Yeah.
And you see him very focused on that plan, but you see him mostly having fun,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
was a lesson for me because I get stressed and nervous and all anxiety. And then you see someone like him. Of course, he's Steven Spielberg, he can be relaxed. But yeah, he was always doing his best of like creating an atmosphere of friendship and joy and kindness. He is very kind and very loving and very approachable as well.
That's great to hear because if it were me, I'd probably just be so scared. Like, I don't even want to look at him.
Yeah. That's what makes him so humble and so great, that he sees you being nervous or in a corner, and he's the type of first person that goes to you and say, hi, how you doing? Like, are you having fun? Like, he knew all of our names. Or at least he made the effort to, through all these 6 months that we felt seen and heard. So I really appreciate that.
That's good. How did you approach bringing this character to life? And, how did you focus on making her different than maybe what we've seen in previous adaptations?
Yeah. Well, I feel that I contributed a lot to this new adaptation of West Side Story because I was part of the whole script process with Tony Kushner. As a Puerto Rican, they wanted to have the opinion of Puerto Ricans. So that made me feel, really nice. And in my role, I just tried to embrace the fact that I am Puerto Rican. In the original movie, there were only a few, or maybe only Rita was the real Puerto Rican. So I embraced the fact that I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I brought, my spice and my happiness and my joy and, that rhythm that we have, that it's uncomparable.
Yeah.
And I feel that's how I created the character.
Yeah, bringing your own identity, bringing your own, culture to the role and representing
the authenticity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the musical numbers, are iconic in West Side Story. How was that experience rehearsing, and then, you know what I mean, and just stepping into that and being like, oh my God, I'm here, I'm doing this song.
It was amazing. It was a very exciting process to be able to learn from Justin Peck, who's right now one of the best choreographers out there. He just won a Tony Award with a new show that he's doing on Broadway. Yeah. And he was the choreographer of the show. I was surrounded by the creme of la creme, like the best of the best from Broadway, from Juilliard, from New York. So it was like I had to step up my game for sure. And I learned so much from my castmates, and we became a family.
Yeah.
And it was demanding because it was a lot of dancing. In some of the scenes, like America, we had to dance outside and the weather was 100 degrees or up. And we had like these big costumes and, like socks and heels. So it was a lot, but we were living a dream. We were in a Steven Spielberg film. So we were just enjoying every second of it.
Yeah. Well, most recently you played characters Katie and Marabella. Can you tell us a little bit about that series and the character?
Yes, I'm so happy and grateful for that role. Katy, that's how you pronounce it in Spanish. Oh, but Katie is fine as well. But Katy, she's a powerful woman. She is the wife of this lawyer that represents all the mafiosos, all the mafia in Europe, that they are centered in Marbella. And I love this role because I am able to represent the female empowerment and, a woman that is able to be surrounded by guys, but she's not afraid to speak up and to you know, and to also demand what she deserves and what she thinks is right for her family. And I love playing her, and I'm really excited to be part of this show. I've always wanted to work in Spain. I'm a huge admirer of all the work that Spain is doing right now, and especially our director Dani de la Torre. He's amazing. His way of seeing, like, you know, the story, and his photography and his team is so wonderful. So I had the time of my life, honestly. Like, afterwards I started booking, that was like, oof, the next level to me, because I wanted to work in my language. I wanted to work in Spanish. I was missing that. And this role gave me that opportunity, and to develop a journey of a woman that, even though she's ambitious and she's the wife of a lawyer that represents, you know, people that are not doing great stuff, you know, she is empowered, and she has a voice, and to me that's really nice to play.
The Spanish language is so beautiful. I have to work on how I say the name. I'm too American.
I can help you.
Yeah, you gotta help me. So you're in a upcoming movie, Killan Castro. Can you tell us about that?
Killan Castro, yes, that's a movie directed by a really good friend called Yves Rivera. He's also Puerto Rican, but he was raised in New York. It's starring Cholo Madrileña, Al Pacino, Diego Boneta, and I had the honor to be part of that cast, working with Diego in two amazing scenes. I played Lorita Lorenz. She is the woman that tried to kill. She was the lover of Fidel Castro, and she tried to kill him. And then he discovered her, and you'll have to see the movie to understand what happens. But it's amazing to be part of that story, and to be able to keep doing what I love, which is making art. To be honest, like, as long as I'm making art and I'm, you know, earning my life and my living, like, just doing what I love, I feel so blessed. And every role that comes my way, doesn't matter if it's the lead or if it's not the lead. In this case, I am in Marbella. I am the lead female. In this one, I'm not. I have two big scenes that I really love, but it doesn't matter. I'm surrounded with the best of the best as well. And I learned so much, and I love telling this story. So yeah, I think it's coming out at the end of this year.
Yeah, sounds good. So apart from acting, like we said, singing and dancing, and you have a new album coming out, right?
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yes.
I don't want to mispronounce it, so you said the title.
Yeah. The album. Wait. Okay. Yeah. The album is called Meraki. Meraki. It's a word that's coming from Greek. From Greece. I'm sorry. It means leave your whole soul in everything that you're doing. And I really love that word and the meaning, because that's exactly what I've been doing my whole life. And with this album, I've literally, like, spent years and years putting in the work to making it happen, and then to create it, and then to release it, and now to promote it. It's like I literally have to leave my all to make it happen. And, you know, when you see other people that get stuff maybe easily, and you understand that you have to work a little harder, then you really just put your whole you in stuff, because you really want them to happen. And that's why I put Meraki. My best friend gave me that word. Unfortunately, he passed away a week after he gave me that name. And he was one of my best friends from my whole life. He was my high school best friend, my roommate in Miami. He was someone that I could talk to about anything. And unexpectedly, he passed away. And that conversation about Meraki, about my album, was our last conversation, which made me realize how valuable life is, and how privileged I am to be doing what I'm doing. And it also made me also understand that there wasn't any other option. My album needed to be called Meraki. and I gave tribute to him in the intro of the album called Meraki, and then the rest of the songs are fun, but there are also other songs that are romantic, and there's also songs that are, you know, heartbreak songs. I think it's a diary of what I've been living in the last years.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of this album.
Well, I can't wait to listen to it and pick it up. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing that with us and taking time and coming on and speaking with me today. I really do appreciate it. It was
Thank you
so much fun.
I can't wait to see the interview.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to see it, and I can't wait for this album and your movies coming out. And everyone is so excited. And you bring such authenticity to your culture, and you know, as a person of color, I love that. So I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.